Oh, now I'm all messed up. Good evening. It's Wednesday, April 8th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. This is the City of Franklin Common Council. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Mayor Nelson,
Here.
Alderman Pecorelli,
Here.
Alderwoman Eichman. Here. Alderman Assam.
Here.
Alderwoman Day has resigned as of April 1st, 2026. Alderman Salus.
Here.
Alderman Craig.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Church, good evening and welcome. Meeting starts at 6:30. So this is a note from our city clerk before we go into citizen comment period. It says, I would like to thank all the election inspectors who worked at the polling locations, central count, and all the staff in the clerk's office for their long hours and dedication to run a smooth election. These people are very important for our democracy to run as efficiently as it does. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Going to open citizen comment period. And one of the things moving forward is we're going to be looking for a way to streamline a little bit so people can be heard without having a long and arduous time of going through this. So we're going to be looking at some things. Hopefully by next meeting I'll have something. Other communities have chimed in on what they do. I kind of like them a lot better. So I'm going to read this. I like your aggressiveness. But yeah, test and see if it works. I don't think it's on yet, sir.
It's pretty big. So,
There we go. There we go. City of Franklin meeting rules of decorum for attendees and participants. For those attending City of Franklin meetings, number 1, respectful and orderly conduct is expected at all times. Number 2, disruptive or unruly behavior, including but not limited to clapping, verbal disruptions, signs, and outbursts will not be tolerated. For those wishing to speak during City of Franklin meetings, number 1, approach the microphone when the chair opens the floor for citizen comments. Number 2, state your name and address for the record. Number 3, address your comments to the Common Council, Board, Commission, or Committee only. Number 4, limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. I'll be the timekeeper. Number 5, no endorsements or electioneering are allowed. Number 6, speakers shall refrain from presenting unduly repetitious, offensive, threatening, slanderous, defamatory, or obscene remarks. Number 7, this will be looked at for sure. Persons wishing to speak as a spokesperson on behalf of a neighborhood, subdivision, homeowners, or condominium, or business association, or similar group with common interests shall demonstrate their qualifications to do so according to the City of Franklin Resolution 2007-6227 before speaking on that body's behalf. That's one of the things being looked at. Number 8, questions may be answered immediately by the chair or referred to city staff for a future reply in a timely manner. We also want to be looking at those citizens that come up here and have questions that we cannot answer immediately. We want to make sure that we are assigning them to a staff, and we give that citizen, we make sure we have their information so we can give them proper service. Those not adhering to these rules of decorum for attendees and participants will be asked to leave or be removed from a meeting if necessary. Transitioning over to our Chapter 19 ordinance regarding citizen comment period. During the citizen comment period, no person shall speak for longer than 3 minutes at each council meeting unless the city council shall direct otherwise to an individual. City council direction may take the form of unanimous consent. With that said, we'll now open citizen comment period, and we also ask that if you're looking to speak, please, we'll start a formal line to help quicken this up.
Hey,
Good evening, sir.
Eli Gasavic, 7518 Carter Circle North. Most of you people probably recognize me because I've been coming to virtually all the Common Council meetings and the Planning Committee meetings because the POTH General Project, by the way, I have nothing positive or negative to say about that project, but that project is in my backyard. Literally a 6-foot fence separates my backyard from the south side of the project. So I've been attending these meetings constantly, and unfortunately I wasn't able to attend the March 19th Planning Commission. And the reason I wasn't able to is I received this postcard on May 20th, and it was dated the 6th of March. So literally 2 weeks to go half a mile. Doesn't make much sense. So I have a neighbor who's homebound. She's just in the building east of me. I pick up her mail. Guess what? She got the same postcard on the 20th for a meeting on March 19th. Bizarre, isn't it? My neighbor to the west, Bill Lewis, he got the same postcard on the 20th, even though the meeting was on the 19th. Now, it's starting to seem a little bit weird. So I went to the post office and asked them why such a thing would happen. And they made it very clear to me, it's not their stamp. It's a privately held stamp that the city owns, a Hewlett-Packard stamp. So for 2 weeks, somebody, I'm sorry to have to say this, was sitting on this and purposely didn't mail it out. So those people who were directly affected by this could not attend this meeting. I mean, Mayor, you used to be a police officer.
Oh, I don't like it. I don't
No,
like
no,
what
no,
you're
I'm
saying.
just
It's
saying,
terrible.
I think you want to look into this because I'm sure.
Yes,
that
we will.
City attorney can tell you it's a federal offense to tamper with the mail. That being said, I would ask further then that you please void and disallow anything that was mentioned at that March 19th meeting, because those of us who are most directly affected by it couldn't attend because somebody was, I'm sorry to say, was criminally holding back this mail. Thank you.
If,
We put the postage on it, we sent it out the same day.
okay. Hello.
Hello, everyone. It's
I want to see
good
it.
to
Connor.
you.
Good evening. Welcome. Sorry, we were just
That's okay.
trying to figure out because that's not good.
No,
So,
agreed.
not
Well, good
right.
evening, and thank you for the opportunity to address you today. My name is Laura Nelson. I am the Director of Sales at Visit Milwaukee, and I am also the current board chair for Engage Franklin. From a tourism and destination development perspective, Potts General project represents far more than redevelopment. It is a commitment to Franklin's long-term competitiveness as a place that people choose. In my industry, Destinations International often references the community vitality wheel. It's a proven cycle where a place that people want to visit becomes a place they choose to live, work, and ultimately invest, and in turn draws more visitation. That cycle is not theoretical. We see it play out in communities across the country, and right now, Franklin is in a unique position to accelerate that momentum. Franklin already attracts a steady flow of visitors for sports, events, and recreation, and this development creates the opportunity to capture more of that activity and extend the visitor experience. Instead of visitors coming for a single purpose and leaving, we create reasons for them to stay longer, spend more, and return. When a community develops around an existing draw, that vitality wheel picks up speed and tourism becomes self-sustaining and an economic force. That has direct implications for overnight stays, local spending, job creation, and the overall perception of Franklin as a destination. And perception matters. It influences site selectors, meeting planners, and business decision makers just as much as it influences leisure travelers. From an economic standpoint, tourism becomes a front door to broader investment, and with each new dollar of visitor or project-related spending, we are not just generating immediate activity, we are creating a ripple effect that strengthens the entire local economy for generations to come. From a destination development perspective, I support the creation of a pay-as-you-go TIF district as a strategic performance-based tool. It requires no upfront public investment, uses no existing taxpayer dollars, and ties reimbursements directly to creation of new tax value. Without tools like this, projects that elevate the destination experience to this magnitude often do not happen. And in today's competitive landscape, communities that do not keep pace risk falling behind. The reality is, people have choices, and they go where the experience is strongest. I encourage you to establish this district as an intentional step forward for Franklin's economy, because ultimately, when we choose to strengthen Franklin as a place people want to visit, we are deliberately creating a place people choose to spend their hard-earned money, choose to redeem their talents, and choose to build their futures. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Colonel?
My name is Robert Montgomery. I live at 8570 South 116th Street. I have some items I would like to distribute. Who do I give it to?
Well, let's start with one, and he can just pass them down.
Yeah, if you don't want to read it, just pass it.
Thank you. Pass them, that's fine. Is there enough for all of us, or just one document?
No, I would never bring enough for everybody. You
It's like,
need to
it's like
share.
treats on
We need
birthdays.
to bond, we need to get closer, we need to know how to share. There's always a hidden agenda.
As long as the clerk and the city attorney get one.
And then the other question I have is this retained by the city or is it discarded?
Madam Clerk, do you want to answer that question?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear her.
Do you retain this item or do you discard it at the end of the?
No, we retain it in the file.
Oh, great. Okay. Very helpful. Once everybody has their copy, which I didn't bring enough, the reason I'm here today is to thank everyone who works for the city of Franklin. I find the people who work here to be tremendous, very helpful, and very professional. And that includes the fire department and the police department, who I enjoy thoroughly. The reason I say that is I don't want somebody to misconstrue my comments that are coming later as a reflection upon them. The way I look at it is the first floor of the city of Franklin, they're an amazing group of people, plus the fire department. There are 3 departments that are having challenges right now. I won't get into the 3, but many people know which 3 those are. They're not on the first floor. And today I'm going to be talking about the Department of Public Works. And if you look at your handout, those of you who have it, you'll see a couple of pictures, 2 pictures at the end. One is a tire that's covered in mud. And the final picture is what I call the moat. I talked about that a few weeks ago. And the moat reflects a deep pit full of water and gravel, which is where the tire in the second page gets all of its gravel. As it drives through, it doesn't matter what kind of truck it is, it picks up the gravel and then spreads it on the city street. That's important because I was out cleaning the city street, and if you refer to the first page, which is the email, if you see the underlined areas in red, you will see that part of it is a letter from Kevin Schluter, who's the Department of Public Works, and he stated, "We checked the area when you called." That's the area in front of my house, which has the trough. And it was tracking, he meant dirt, even though he didn't say it, tracking dirt coming from the driveway, and someone was out cleaning the road with a blower. And he says, "I'm assuming yourself." Well, he's right, it was me. So realize my road is 2 miles long. The speed limit is about 45, which is what people observe. And you've got a guy with my advanced age standing out on the street, cleaning it with a blower, a broom, and occasionally I have to use a power washer. I've done this about 15 or 20 times. I've lost track. And the reason I've done that is because we have the pit, which allows the tires to transfer dirt to the road. And I know that it annoys people when that happens. So I go out there every day, sometimes twice a day, and clean it. Now that's a problem because, as I've learned, it's really not my problem. It was a shoddy construction by the DPW. Now, the title of my talk is Stepping Over the Body, and that's a metaphor. And the reason it's a metaphor is that when DPW came out and observed me working on the road, the one thing they didn't do was stop and say, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you out in the middle of this road? You're an old man, traffic's flying by at 45 miles an hour. You know you could get hurt." The person who observed me working on the road didn't stop, didn't get out, didn't say, "What's going on?" They didn't roll their window down and say, "Hey, Mr. Montgomery, this is dangerous. Why don't you get outside of the road, get off the road?" They just let me continue to clean the street, which is actually a DPW function. But they let me do it. I'm fine with that. I'm not afraid of hard work. But that's what stepping over the body means. You have an employee who works for DPW. He drives out there. He sees there's an old man cleaning the street. That individual, in my opinion, should have gotten out of his truck or whatever he was doing and said, "What's going on? How can I help you, old man?" None of that happened. They were willing to record it in an email, but they weren't willing to go the extra mile and say, "How can I help you?" Because it's clearly inappropriate that you're cleaning dirt off the road. This troubles me because it reflects a mindset that some departments in the city of Franklin have and have embraced completely. So in the future, it would be nice if employees would say, "How can I help you?" not just observe a problem and drive off. Now, if I had known that they were going to do that, I would have been here sooner. But only when I got this email did I discover that somebody had actually watched me cleaning the roadway of dirt and gravel, which is a product of what I previously called, entitled, the moat, the body of water which takes dirt and gravel from it and puts it on the road. The reason I tell you this is, can I have another 30 seconds? You are so kind. I'm so glad you're the mayor.
Oh,
Clap.
Nice.
Clapping.
and it's an outburst. There are,
Yeah,
here,
that's an
there are
out-
people here that aren't happy about it, so I embrace them too.
So that's about it. If you would discover if these three departments, what we'll discuss in the next 6 months, if they would develop the philosophy is the words they should come out of their mouth the first minute they see you is, "How can we help you?" That always happens on the first floor, happens with the fire department, happens with the police department. I walk into any of those places, first words they say is, "How can I help you?" There are three departments, you never, ever hear those. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. Good evening, sir.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm the general manager of the Sleep In Mainstay Suites in Franklin. And I'm just here to support the project on 76th and Rawson there, where basically the vacant commercial buildings are there. And any kind of development in that area would be good for that corner, the Rock area, the complex, the hotels, the city. I mean, everyone around. Most people are against like change, but once the change has happened and been completed, most people are for it. And, could be you hate the development, but once it's created, your favorite restaurant is there. Or one of your friends move in the area and then brings more people, more money, more tax profit for all of Franklin and help promote the city and all the citizens and everyone involved. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello,
Good evening, Mayor.
I'm Ken Jankowski, 6111 South New York Avenue, Cudahy, Wisconsin. I'm also the mayor for the city of Cudahy. So congrats on your win, Mayor Nelson.
Thank you, sir.
I'm here today to, you have before you on your agenda, the consideration for a resolution to make a TIF district for the POTH General Project, headed up by Land by Label. And I'm here to tell you that we have dealt with Land by Label. We created a TIF district for them. They built a brand new apartment building for us on the corner of Packard and Layton, 80 units. And when they came to us and asked for that TIF district, everyone is always looking around the room going, how's this going to work out? So we took a chance because we realized that this could have been the spark that would create the revitalization fire that the city of Cudahy really needed, and it worked. They've been great through the whole process. The building is complete. I believe they're just about full. They took occupancy back in November. During the whole process, they were very accommodating with any issues that arose, very empathetic to the local businesses around them, and the citizens took care of everything. They met all of our requests. They met all their deadlines. They were really a great company to work for. I'll take it one step further. We had an unfortunate, one of our very well-known restaurants burned a couple months ago. Really big in the public. They did a lot of fundraising for baseball kids, all types of fundraisers. They burned and they had nowhere to go. The owner of that building, of the restaurant, Lakeside Pub and Grill, had been in Cudahy for over 12 years. And there really was no place for him to go. He was getting ready to fold up shop and just call it a day. I reached out to Land by Label because they had a retail space below the apartment building, And they reached out to that restaurant owner and they made it work. They made considerable concessions so that they could not only move their business into the lower section, but expand the business. And now they're able to rehire all the employees that basically lost their jobs. So just here to let you know that a TIF district and creating, new development brings in people, and when people come, businesses come. It's always reciprocal. And I can speak to that attestment today because just today we had another developer break ground in the city of Cudahy that's going to be putting in a bigger project than what Land by Label just put in. So we're really looking forward to that. So things are happening for us. And like I said, these guys were the spark that ignited our city's revitalization. And I'm very excited to see what's going to happen next. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening, Linda Mathwick, 7321 Brun Drive. And once again, I would like to say hello to all of the people joining us online. I'm going to first address item G2 on tonight's agenda. I want to reiterate what Eli said. There is a serious lap in notifying residents. This is the second occasion that residents for the Potts General Development were not notified properly about the March 19th Plan Commission public hearing. As Eli said, myself and several neighbors reported receiving notice on March 20th, the day after the hearing. Although the mailed card was postmarked as March 6th, it was not processed by the post office until March 17th. Therefore, in my opinion, item G2 should be sent back to the Plan Commission so the neighbors on the surrounding property can voice their opinion to the commissioners. The City of Franklin must seriously develop a more reliable method to ensure residents receive timely notifications, as the current process is effective. Otherwise, transparency is in jeopardy. Now regarding item G1, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on comments previously said, but move this conversation forward and focus on accountability and long-term sustainability. As we consider the future, but more importantly, particularly this TID, we, the people, need a clear expectation for success. A pay-go TIF that provides no meaningful benefit to the City of Franklin for 27 years is not a sound investment. During the duration, 90% of the projected $15 million is committed to the developer with minimal revenue for the city. The financial benefit, if there's any, does not begin until after the 27-year term. Therefore, the burden supporting our infrastructure, schools, and most importantly, our emergency and public services falls to taxpayers. Those who signed this petition to save the Franklin tax base, which is addressed to the Joint Review Board, the residents see this as a bad deal. This is not about opposing development. Development can be a positive force for our community, but it must be grounded in realistic expectation, clear accountability, along with complete transparency. That responsibility rests right here in this chambers tonight. I encourage you to approach these decisions with a focus not just on growth, but on sustainability and stewardship for the taxpayers that you represent. Thank you.
So before Ms. Gint comes up, our Madam Clerk is going to address the card situation because that is a very serious concern. So,
Okay, the card, when the post date that is on there is postmarked by our machine, we take the mail to the post office every single day and we drop it off there. So if it's dated the 7th, we took it to the post office on the 7th. We have had issues with the post office with our absentee ballots, but if it's postmarked the 7th, it was taken to the post office by our office on the 7th.
thank you.
Dana Gint, 9011 West Hawthorne Lane. First of all, I want to thank Alderwoman Day and Alderman Craig for their service to the city. For Alderwoman Day, not only for her work as a former health director, but also for her service as Alderwoman and Planning Commission member. It was clear she consistently read agenda packets thoroughly and raised relevant, informed questions. I want to thank Alderman Jason Craig for his service on various committees and responding to multiple homeowners' requests to revisit our neighborhood during events at The Rock to experience the noise firsthand, and for his advocacy for a third-party acoustic expert to evaluate the noise, manage the decibel monitors, and implement comprehensive mitigation at The Rock. I'm here to specifically speak on items 4 and 5 on The Rock's request for a noise level of 65 decibels at the residential property line for 92 events. The 2024 noise resolution, municipal ordinances, and city codes all clearly establish residential receiving district standards. Those standards require 50 decibels at the property line. These are not suggestions, they are legal requirements designed to protect residential areas. Compliance is achievable. Plexiglass acoustic barriers and other mitigation strategies recommended by third-party consultants can substantially reduce off-site noise. Yet the city's continued pattern of granting special exceptions to residential protections has created a chronic quality of life impacts for neighbors up to 2 miles away. The 2020 Milwaukee County Sound Study confirmed that amplified noise from various activities at The Rock are plainly audible, word for word, at substantial distances into residential areas. This long-standing issue continues today. Presentations by JPM Acoustics and Vibrations shows that effective technologies and strategies exist to significantly reduce noise spilling off the site. The city should not approve any events above 50 to 55 decibels at the residential property line. The Rock committed to mitigation for a 2-day Country Rising Taco event. So why is there no similar written commitment or required accountability to mitigate noise for these 92 events? Any discussion regarding these 92 events must include accountability and demonstrate actual mitigation of noise being abated prior to crossing the residential property lines. Without implementing meaningful, effective mitigation, the pattern of chronic noise nuisance will continue. Surrounding neighborhoods are not asking for the noise at the sound system to be 55 decibels. We're asking for the noise to be mitigated before it crosses into the residential property lines. The 2020 Sound Study and the city's 2024 report both note that acoustic experts recommend 50 decibels during the day and 45 at night universally as permissible levels at the residential receiving district property lines. These levels match the standards used by 500 of the largest communities in the United States for residential areas and align with Franklin's own noise resolution, ordinances, and codes. The receiving district determines the decibel level, which is incorrectly identified in the staff report as 55 decibels at the property line instead of 50. The law is clear, the standards are clear, the solutions are available. The city must require mitigation and uphold the ordinances that protect its residents. Please do not approve any noise above 50 decibels or 55 decibels at the residential property line. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gint.
Good evening, Daryl Malik, 8230 River Terrace Drive. I'm asking for the council's unanimous consent to give me a few more minutes because this is regarding items G1 through G5. There's a lot there. I'll try not to go too much over the 3, but I'm asking for unanimous consent because I think it really will benefit.
Is there a motion to suspend the rules? First and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So first, I'm a resident of Franklin for 30 years. I'm one of the owners of Point After. I have several Starfire companies in the business park. I own the former Wolf Preserve and a development property on Loomis Ave. I'm also a real estate broker, licensed professional engineer, dwelling contractor qualifier, and very involved in the Franklin community. I'm also the past president of Engage Franklin. Laura already mentioned the Engage Franklin aspect of this, so I'll save some time there. And I'm only telling you this because I think I'm pretty well qualified to give a well-versed perception on both the POS project and the Rock project. So there's a lot of misunderstandings, I think, on the residents' part. So, and I already heard a couple tonight, so I'm going to address a couple of those as I go. It is a very complex project, referring to POS, and it's easy to understand how people might not understand it, and without understanding becomes apprehension and anxiety about the project. One of the things right off the bat is the financial consideration before we even get to the TID district. To state that there's no benefit right away is just simply not correct. To make it clear, the developer has already agreed to pay $2 million in impact fees. Most of those are paid prior to or in conjunction with getting the building permit. Just as one example, those fees are spread over fire department, police department, and several other departments, roads, and so forth. But just as one example, as part of the agreement, the fire department gets $125,800. That money can be earmarked for improvements, and you're going to hear later related to G19 that the city desperately needs, and the fire department desperately needs that money to address their mold issues and the renovation of Station 1. That's just one example, and there's countless examples. So it's $2 million right off the bat that go to the city. Then there's also the impression when it comes to the TID district that the developer is not paying taxes. That's just simply not the case. They pay $90,000 about last year, and they're going to pay an increase as the project develops. Every year they pay a 10% of the increase in taxes relative to the increase in value of the property. So every year this project's developed, there's going to be a bigger benefit to the city. It's very important to understand the structure of the agreement. That agreement, all of the agreements are very long, so I'm not going to go into all of them. But there's a specific one about the commercial agreement that references the taxes are not associated with the tax condition of the TID district, meaning that as soon as the commercial property is developed and occupied, it pays full taxes. So there is no 27-year period on that. That's a huge benefit to the city. And furthermore, related to that, there's people that say, well, they're just going to delay that because they don't get the TID benefits. Well, if they don't do it within 3 years after the footings go in for the first residential building, the city has the right to obtain that property for $1. That should tell us all that there's no way any good developer would agree to that. So the impression of the citizens that there's no financial benefit is simply not the case. Length of the agreement has been a consideration. I shared that originally when I saw the 27 years. That's pretty long for a TID district. But when I did more research on the blighted district and so forth, 27 years is a very common term for that type of district. The reality, based on the reports of two of the experts, it's going to be closed within 20 years. And that's all a ballpark thing. 27 years is a conservative approach to avoid issues down the road. So that's a good thing. There was also and coincidentally mentioned tonight, stress on services, fire, police, schools, all that. The developer went above and beyond with meeting all the heads of all the departments and received nothing but positive responses. So it's very, very minor impact compared to the benefits that all of those departments receive. There's also been a lot of opposition, residents and so forth, but I truly believe as a resident, I do believe I represent the vast majority. Everybody wants this project done. They want it to go forward. Nobody likes to look at that property the way it is. So there's always going to be objection, but I think a lot of the objection is without, and I don't want to insult anybody, but without the knowledge of what's really involved in these agreements and what benefits are really provided to the city. Again, all the citizens want that project to go ahead, and the developer has listened, and they've made huge concessions, huge, for the benefit of the citizens. So it's my opinion, it's not only the council's duty to vote on this topic tonight. I think it's an obligation if you're really going to do what's in the best interest of your constituents. That's not to say 4 or 5 that might have the loudest voice because of social media, which we've all seen lately. I think that's a shame. I really, really do. That's not the voice of the majority of the citizens. The people that don't want to go on social media and do that just have more respect, and they want this process to work the way it's supposed to and not be subjected to a few opinions on social media. As clearly stated in both experts' reports, that's Friedman and Ehlers, and confirmed by the developer, this project will not happen if this TID is not approved. It just won't. And every day that it's not approved, if it's postponed again, it's going to cost the city more money, because the day they get to go ahead is the day where the development starts and value increases. And the sooner we do that, the sooner we start getting the tax benefits, especially with respect to the commercial property, but with respect to all of it. The sooner we approve it, every month that goes by, it costs the city money. And I think you've done your due diligence. I think the developers have. I think the experts have. Everybody's done their due diligence. There was a comment last meeting say it's lack of information. I went through the whole packet. I went through every report. I did it all. And I don't know what could be missing. I really don't. And again, engineer, developer, all that stuff. To me, you have done your due diligence, and it's time to move forward with that. So I have one other really quick point regarding G4, G5. That's the decibel limit on the Rockland Franklin Field. As an engineer, and I did do some research on this, 65 decibels is very, very common for any facility or venue of a similar type throughout the country. I mean, Wisconsin for sure, but throughout the country. So I think that's a common sense thing. That being said, it has to be enforced as far as time limitations and that decibel level. So that's it for tonight. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Malik. Anyone else wishing to speak? What's that? No.
NJ Mathweg, Franklin, Wisconsin. So first thing I want you to kind of notice is the way that everyone is positioning. Like, this is going to be great for our city. We need something in that development. That's something I don't disagree with. What I do kind of have concern with is the reasons of why we're doing it. So to focus actually on the question is whether or not there's actually something on the record that can reasonably make a blight determination. And like I said, that question isn't about whether this would be desirable, whether it's idealistic, whether it's something that would actually improve our community. The question that the council is actually being asked is, does it actually meet the specific standard that qualifies it for a 27-year TID? So on Monday, I did send an email in response to the Friday memorandum that was sent by, I believe, by John Regetz. I highlighted that I personally believe that the definition of blight is actually being a little bit skewed, or I guess I would call it a little bit of creative lawyering, where you are trying to use other statute to try and justify this land that doesn't neatly fit into the statute by itself. That being said, I guess just for the sake of argument and just to play devil's advocate, I'm actually going to try and take a swing from the perspective of the staff. So the memo did say that arrested growth of the community is something that could be labeled as blight. So simply put, it means a real problem actually exists. Things such as hazardous debris, soil contamination, buried rubble, and because of these problems, they're so significant that it actually kind of detracts people from actually building, so that would make sense why, you know, the local government would get involved and actually want to give some sort of incentive, is because nobody wants to come in by themselves regularly. So what I actually find interesting is what Alderman Salus said from the last meeting. Is he said he had some interested parties that might want to develop it to be something. I mean, this is supposed to be a land that's supposed to be so terrible, so blighted, in such a state that nobody wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So I find that interesting. And I also believe, Alderman Salus, you're an engineer, and you probably know that with every site you're going to have challenges to building. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's blighted. It's just everybody faces these challenges. So I did go through the reports, and I would say if the soil borings actually had something like garbage, some debris, I would definitely, I would not be up here. The point is that if there was something that was actually impeding the health of our community, yeah, I would be all for it. I guess looking more closely at the conditions discussed that we have on the record, including the undocumented fills in the wetlands, we have to really ask ourselves, does it actually impair the growth of our community? The geotechnical reports themselves say that this can actually be mitigated with engineering. It can be fixed, it can be managed. It is not a permanent condition that is so detrimental that it prevents development or discourages investment. So then the question is really this. If the conditions as described can be managed, does it really impair the growth of the community? Or is it really just simply a question of developmental cost?
3 minutes, ma'am.
Secondly, if a developer faces environmental conditions on natural land, what is stopping us from calling every single unvacant land that has environmental challenges as blighted? That becomes a slippery slope very quickly. And I'll finish here. At the end of the day, it's not about whether development is desirable or difficult. It's about whether the council can be confident in its decision to label it as such. It isn't about itemizing every detail or assuming that the court will defer. It's about the council being absolutely clear on the specific reason it is relying on to label this land as blighted, and making sure that the record is strong enough to reasonably support that decision. Thank you.
Supervisor?
Mayor, common council, I'm going to follow the 3-minute rule, unlike some. Well, 2812 West Hilltop Lane. Well, besides the 9th District Supervisor race, last night was perfect in terms of elections. Mayor, congratulations.
Thank you.
You ran a hard race, went up against, I think, a 5-time loser now, and a former mayor that spent the last 3 years undermining this city, trying to work against it. Pretty sad. And I think hopefully his days are done.
Politically.
Politically done. Well, politically done.
Okay.
Yeah, who knows what he's going to do?
You never know. FC
Never know.
Take that and run with it.
FCN, yeah. Well, we'll talk about that. I still have a few more minutes left. Yusuf, congratulations. Tough race for you, right? Tough race for you. Mira, same thing. Tough race for you. Jason, probably learned a valuable lesson. Shouldn't focus on 12 people when you have 6,000 you represent. So hope you learn that. Speaking of, and Courtney Day, I want to thank her for her service, not only as an alderwoman the last 3 years, but also as a health officer. Got this city through COVID, so she should be commended for that. I have a county citation that I will get to her at some point. I think Daryl Malik talked about social media. I just want to talk about the fake news that's out there. There clearly are a few deranged individuals that have a Facebook page. They like to put out false narratives. These are obsessed individuals. One's obsessed, a psycho stalker. I think our community saw that. They saw who he was. They saw who they supported, and they outright rejected it. Besides, unfortunately, the 9th District, but I think there's other issues there. But just, I look forward to the swearing in what, 2 weeks?
April 21st.
April 21st. It's going to be a glorious day. But I look forward to work with you guys. Obviously, I represent a portion of Franklin, but as you know, I care about all of Franklin.
Thank you. Madam-elect D4.
Good evening, Mira Kresovic, 8810 South 51st Street. I just wanted to say very quickly, thank you to Courtney and to Jason for their service, and actually to everyone that has served the community, both as electeds and employees. I know that you guys really work hard to do what's best, and sometimes that's not always understood or appreciated. And given I'm going to be sitting up there very shortly, I'm hoping that people will choose to be kind and respectful and represent Franklin as a respectful and respectable community. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Zimmerman?
Mike Zimmerman, CEO, Rock Ventures, 7044 South Ballpark Drive. So the 65 decibels, I just want to remind you guys that the year before we went to 55 and it was not sustainable. Last year we were at 65 for both the food trucks and milkman games. 0 violations, very, very little complaints. So I don't want to get into that debate tonight. Actually, what I'm requesting is that we table tonight. We still have some time, but you know, Jason's a lame duck, and I mean that politically. And Courtney's not here. I just think we owe it to the new Common Council to be scrubbed in. These are the folks that we're going to be, you know, working with for the next 3 years. So I would recommend that we table it. I'm hoping we can table it. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. You're saying you want to table, which is it?
Yeah, I'd
4
like
and
to-
5, you can say a lot.
Yeah, anything that's got our name on it, I'd like to table till when we actually have the new Common Council. I just think that's a smarter strategic move. And it gets you folks out of here a little earlier tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Seeing no one else? Close citizen comment period?
I think you had one more.
Oh, sorry, reopen it.
John Vasello. I live in Houston, Texas, but I grew up in Greenfield, and my family and I, we own Moe's and Bo's Irish Pub. Ian and Jim have been talking to us a long time about trying to get a Moe's out here, and like Franklin, build the area. You guys have done an awesome job of growing, and it's a tremendous community. So, but it would take more density, and it would take an improvement like what they're trying to create. And so I just wanted to give them my support. And I also do some development and have some experience with TIF, and have spent a lot of time analyzing it. My uncle was head of city development in Milwaukee. Most deals don't pencil right now, so there's a lot of difficulty with interest rates, construction costs, and everything. So for groups like mine to come out to this community and to provide extra services, we would need a newer development like this to participate in. So thank you very
And that's for the Moe's Steakhouse, not the 7 Brew? Okay.
Yeah, and I would say that Ian, as a fellow developer, is as good as they get. I think that you'll find if you dig into his reputation, he's just fabulous. He's fabulous with math, development, communication.
Agreed.
So I came all the way from Jackson Hole tonight to support them. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no one else, close citizen comment period. Moving on to item C as in Charles. Approval of the meetings from regular common council meeting March 17th, 2026. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. C2, special common council meeting of March 16th, 2026. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. We have no hearings under D as in David. E, organizational mayor commission appointments. There is, well, let's see E1 first. Is there any reason to take them individually? If not, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Alderman Pecorelli.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderman Craig.
Aye. 5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, motion carries. E is Edward 2, weed commissioner. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, this will also be roll call, please.
Alderman Craig.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Pecorelli.
Aye. 5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, motion carries. G1, resolution creating tax incremental district number 10, approving its project plan and establishing its boundaries, City of Franklin, Wisconsin. As I'm talking slow for Mr. Regitz to come on up. Mr. Todd Taves, welcome. Perhaps Ian's going to join as well. Okay. Mr. Regitz, you want to start? And Mr. Taves, just when you grab the mic, just state your name and business address for the record, please. Why not? Go ahead.
Todd Taves with Ellers, and I would have to look up my business address to
That one
give
of
it
those
to you.
weird south this,
Yes.
west that, weirdo stuff?
In Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay, Ellers in Pewaukee, Wisconsin, we'll go with that. Mr. Martin, are you coming up here to, do you want him up here? Just in case. And then Ian Martin, land by label, if you just want to state your business address, it'd be great into one of those microphones.
Ian Martin, land by label, 638 Milwaukee Street, Delafield, Wisconsin.
Thank you, sir, and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. And John, are you driving?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go
Thank you,
ahead.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for considering tax incremental district number 10, or TID 10, and the project plan and the boundaries. TID 10 is a proposed blighted area district comprising approximately 30 acres on the southeast corner of South 76th Street and West Rawson Avenue. The attachment I have up on the screen gives you an idea of what the layout of the area is. The attached map illustrates the existing buildings, planned residential and commercial area, and current parcels that are included in tax increment district number 10. The city anticipates making total expenditures of approximately $15.7 million from projected future incremental revenue of $17.2 million, and that'll be $15 million for redevelopment incentives and $705,000 for administrative expenses. The developer will demolish the dilapidated shopping center, extend all infrastructure to the multi-use, which is the POTS general project, and that's housing as well as 4,100 square feet of commercial space. And they will also prepare, market, and help redevelop the commercial area, and they will be spending approximately $89.2 million to do that. POTS General will be the initial development, consisting of a 292-unit multifamily development with a 4,100 square foot food and beverage retail building, as well as a new Dollar Tree. Harry's Ace Hardware will be preserved. The economic benefits from TID 10, the main ones will be to clean up a blighted area in the city, create needed market rate housing, and create commercial development opportunities. The developer will construct and maintain streets on into the future, no cost to the city. They'll collect refuse, and they will pay over $2 million in impact fees. And we'll pull screens back up later on. Approximately $42 million of assessed value will be created by the POTS General project, and that will generate over $600,000 annually in property tax revenues thereafter. Within 4 years after the development agreements are executed, again, I say within 4 years after those agreements are executed, the $89.2 million will be invested, and the 292 residential units will have been built. The development will have begun on the 29,000 minimum square feet of commercial space. New residents will begin to frequent the stores in the neighborhood, the restaurants, and other businesses in their new neighborhood. Okay.
Are they in the breakout? Down below.
We'll give it a minute. Baker Tilly reports the economic impact from the construction alone will be $93.4 million. Thereafter, annually, there will be $15 million of economic impacts from the operations of the POTS developments, and there'll be $36 million in annual spending resulting from POTS General's operations. Additionally, the city will realize $125,000 annually additionally in water and sewer revenues without investing anything more in the infrastructure. And that is the benefit of an infill project like this. You maximize the value of your infrastructure investments made by the city. Under blight determination, the city can make the legal determination of blight under Wisconsin statutes. Our city attorney did substantial research, and I'll only cite a few items from the report, but the research was done on case law in Chapter 661105 of Wisconsin statutes, where we read from his report that a blighted area means an area that is detrimental, established pursuant to the public health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city. Also from 661105, we see an area which is predominantly open, consists primarily of an abandoned highway corridor, as defined in 661333, or otherwise that substantially impairs or arrests the sound growth of the community. Now, we abbreviate some of these statute citations because they include a lot of different qualifications or situations that qualify. But you could simply say an area which is predominantly open or otherwise that substantially impairs or arrests the sound growth of the community. Our TIF consultant also cites 661105 and also 661333, which substantiates the former. Under 661333, the qualifiers for blight are very inclusive, numbering approximately 35 different qualifications, and there are 20 ors, that means including additionally, and 7 ands, and 18 lines of statute. And so the one that we think applies specifically here as well is blighted property means any property within a city, whether residential or non-residential, which by reason of dilapidation, deterioration, age, or obsolescence, and here we abbreviate, or any property which is predominantly open and which because of obsolete planning, diversity of ownership, deterioration of structures, or site improvements, or otherwise substantially impairs or arrests the sound growth of the community. Applicable case law is found in Voters with Facts versus the City of Eau Claire. Our attorney cites that the Wisconsin legislature determined that a blighted area as such may be identified by local government, which constitutes an economic and social liability, substantially impairs or arrests the sound growth of cities, and retards provision of housing accommodations. And that was cited in that case. So as mentioned before, the council is not required to list or qualify the blight factors that are going to be qualifying the areas or the TID, but staff has identified conditions that indicate this designation is appropriate. Obsolescence, deterioration, and impairment of sound growth of the city are rationale for blight determination for the Orchard View Mall. Over 50% vacancies since 2022, records that are available, and certainly before that. Failing infrastructure, including plumbing, cooling systems, and transformers, and deteriorating site conditions. Our planning department has had complaints about the parking lot and the potholes. Inspection and fire departments have notified owners of issues related to burst water lines and other issues. All of these issues were resolved by the owners, and so there's no citations being issued. These problems are being addressed and paid for and repaired. So also deterioration and impairment of sound growth are the rationale for a blight designation for the vacant land east of the Orchard View Mall. 2 geotechnical studies were conducted on the vacant property and warned of development hazards due to extensive unpermitted and unspecified fill on the site. The report went on to cite additional and costly mitigation construction measures. An example of soil construction specifications from the final geotech report is as follows. All engineered fill, wall, and utility trench backfill should consist of inorganic materials free of debris, not to exceed 3 inches in size, and should be placed in 8 to 10 inch loose lifts compacted to a minimum of 95% of dry maximum density. The fill should be moisture conditioned to within plus or minus 3% of optimum moisture content. I appreciate your indulgence of reading that, that's a specification for fill. Some people call it engineered fill. I think that maybe connotes something more, but that's a specification. And so we conjugate a verb and we come up with unspecified fill, my terminology, just to try to abbreviate, but didn't manage that. And that's where that term comes from. So I think we're all educated enough to understand that. So, please remember on page 6, and I won't go to that, of the geotech report, which is page 102 in your packets, where it says that there is concern for the unidentified fill that's in the tract, and because it's not acceptable for use as building material. It's not sound enough to build substantial foundations on. And so that kind of brings us down to the environmental assessment, which documented the site's filling activity, garbage dumping, and suspected PCB and PCE contamination. Phase 2 had to be performed to qualify that. Those levels weren't sufficient enough to have any kind of an action, but that's not the final word. We are told, however, as PCE is a common dry cleaning solvent, we recommend additional soil, groundwater, and soil vapor assessment activities be performed within the 7190 tenant space, which was a dry cleaner. And that's basically telling us that once demolition has occurred, there should be testing and monitoring. And the site, or the report, also tells us that we can't know everything until the demolition is completed and the cap or the foundations have been removed from the mall. So the whole point of the environmental assessment that we bring up, as well as the soil conditions that are unacceptable because there's too much biomatter in the fill, is because it all costs money. Yes, it can be mitigated, but it costs money, and it's additional infrastructure costs, it's additional construction costs, and that's what really you need TIF assistance for, and that's why the blighted designation is appropriate. So additionally, access is needed. There's no access directly owned to Rawson Avenue to be needed to have appropriate access for the development. It's been mentioned before, fire, police, and school service demands. Because this is an infill project, the service territories and districts are already established. The fire department doesn't anticipate any equipment or personnel increases immediately. The school thinks that they can accommodate the 14.6 new students in existing facilities that serve this district, and the police department doesn't expect any appreciable number of increased calls in regard to the project. So in regards to the incentive or the assistance package that's been offered and approved by the council, the development agreement for Paths General is a pay-as-you-go incentive capped at $15 million. And what that means with pay-go is that only the tax increment or the tax revenues generated by the new project can be utilized for the incentive. And so 90% of the new revenues that are generated by the project will be available to use for this agreement, this incentive. There will be no developer windfall. The current internal rate of return is at 11.56%. And if that internal rate of return exceeds 17%, then the city will receive 25% of that increased revenue, tax revenue. And so that's capped at $2.5 million. SB Friedman's underwriting analysis states plainly that this project would not occur as presented but for the financial assistance from the tax increment finance district requested by the developer. And so this package, this financial scenario, is a break-even scenario. That's what a but-for test is what is the project going to need to function, to succeed? What assistance is it going to need from the TIF to achieve the financial requirements that it has. And so in doing that, we came up with the assistance that was needed and the length of time that was required, which is the 27-year time frame. However, the commercial area, as mentioned, has not been estimated for its maximum impact. The developer did that, and Ellers did a sensitivity analysis to give us a view of what the TID district would look like with that increased amount of development and the value that it brings. And so I'll have Todd Taves go over that for you in a moment. But I want to touch on market conditions. That's kind of what is dictating the type of projects that are being developed, which are like the one we have here. And if we take a look at what's going on in the market, they all are combining apartments with the commercial area. And that's because the apartments will help assure or guarantee the commercial areas with customers. Mayfair Mall in Wauwatosa is the prime example these days. 900 apartments, ultimately, starting with half that many. It's a $57.9 million TIF incentive, and it's a $400 million project. And Southridge Mall in Greendale will be 675 apartments, 20,000 square feet of retail space, or commercial space. Pardon the typo, that size was downgraded and I didn't get the 50 out. And that's a $10.3 million grant from the TIF and a $16.7 million financing for the first phase. And then Regency Mall in Racine is probably the most intensive incentive package for 280 apartments and 230,000 square feet of existing mall space, which I assume has to be remodeled. They'll provide a $40 million TIF. So this trend is going to continue into the foreseeable future. I don't see that because the costs of single-family housing is not coming down anytime soon. And that's what's driving apartments as much as anything, including lifestyle and demands of customers. So 5 years down the road, I don't see that changing. 7 years, maybe something will come up, another model that developers are willing to build. This project's taken 3 years to get us to where we're at now. I wouldn't assume another one would, but are we willing to wait 7 to 10 years to make a decision on another project? Because this is the model that's currently contemporarily being constructed. So you've been given all the information that you've asked for, and you've been apprised of the record of what's been going on with this project over time. And so we believe, the staff believes, you have all the information that you need tonight to make a decision once you hear from Mr. Taves and from Mr. Martin.
Can you advance to that, John?
Yes, I can.
So as John mentioned, there's an expectation there will be commercial development. We don't.
Be a little closer in there because they're not going to be able to hear you.
There's a expectation that there will be commercial development. We simply don't know exactly what that's going to be, when it's going to occur. The purpose of the TIF project plan is to show that, in this case, the development agreement is economically feasible. So for that reason, we've only modeled in the post-general multifamily development. That is the only increment that will be used to pay that pay-as-you-go incentive obligation. If there's additional development within the TID, either within the post site or to those parcels to the north, that will increase the revenue that is available for the city, which could elect to then apply that to repay that liability quicker. So in this case, just for sake of illustration, we have a modest amount of commercial, 40,000 square feet, assumed to be valued at $150 per square foot, built out over 27 to 28. That would add roughly $6 million in additional value to the district over the $46 million assumed for the apartments. And we'll just kind of skip by that, but this just layers in that additional $6 million on top of the apartments. So we get about $22.6 million in future value increment. But the next page will show you really the point we want to illustrate. So in the project plan as it exists before you, we show the district taking the entire 27 years to pay off. What this indicates is if you had roughly $6 million of additional incremental value created in that 27 to 28 timeframe, anywhere within the district boundary, that would shave 7 years off of the district's life. So this is really to address some of the comments about it being a 27-year district. That's the maximum statutory term. We obviously want it to close sooner than that, but we also want the project plan to be conservative and to reflect what the development agreement says. So the upshot here is anything that happens in the district beyond the multifamily development will hasten the closure of the district.
Mr. Martin had some comments that he wanted to provide for us, maybe to answer some of the questions that have been going around.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I've been up here a bunch of times, and after all the commentary and public comment, the staff's work, Eller's work, I had a whole presentation, but I'm not going to bother with it. I'll just touch on a couple of things because most of what I was going to talk about, I think they've already covered. I think maybe rather than diving into all the details about what changes were made or maybe even some of the nuances of what the tax rate is and whether it's declining or not, instead of all that detail, I just wanted to talk about a couple of maybe what I think are critical themes that sometimes it's easy to lose the forest through the trees on this stuff. The first one is the collaboration. So, we've been at it for 3 years. And if you look at this project over time, that's where we started. Hotels, food truck courts, music pavilions. These are all 4- and 5-story buildings. We had a little bit of commercial here, somewhere between in this section and this section, that'd be about 10 to 12,000 square feet. And this is where we're at today. And so all of these changes that we've made are the result of our effort to hear what people were concerned about and respond to them. And I think we've done a pretty good job of it. I'm not naive enough at this point, certainly, to think that all of these changes are going to make everybody that's looking at this happy. I mean, clearly it's not. But I don't think unanimous consent is the threshold any good planning organization, any good municipality, frankly, any private business business enterprise should strive for. I think they should sort of strive for what is the best plan that incorporates the best ideas through a thorough process. And I think that's what we've done here. The commercial part of this project has come up a number of times, so I want to talk just, again, pretty high level about what our commercial strategy is. Number one is we've increased the amount of commercial space on this site substantially, more than doubled it since we started. So if you go back to that original plan, we were going to have 10 to 12,000 square feet. And that square footage was attached to the 4- and 5-story buildings. Sitting here today, we have the opportunity to do 30 to 40,000 square feet of commercial. That's none of it's included in the TIF underwriting, but it's a substantial increase. The other thing I think you have to recognize with this is the commercial that we have planned is better commercial. Don't mean to suggest that you can't make a commercial space that's incorporated into a 4- or 5-story building work. Mayor Jankowski mentioned what we did in Cudahy, and that was a case where we were able to do it. But when you take it out of the building, you front it on the busiest street with traffic signals, you give it better visibility, and it's in a larger tract of land, just straight up more acreage. That makes it better commercial, more appealing to the types of users we're all hoping to get here. I know there's been a lot of talk about restaurants. One thing that I think gets lost in the shuffle sometimes is we're building a restaurant right out of the box as part of our first phase. So this building right here It's 4,100 square feet. It could probably get as big as 5,000, 6,000 square feet if we needed it to. We're building that along with all the apartments. And we've got a number of conversations going with potential restaurant groups to take it. So there's no delay on the commercial, certainly for that part of it. A quick note maybe on the types of people that we're talking about here. And we've talked about this in prior meetings, so forgive me to bore you with it, but I think it's important to know that the types of groups we're working for, or we're looking for, and we're trying to get are not, again, not to be critical of this, but I'm not looking for another McDonald's to come on the site. That's here. There's other places where you can go to find it. As you heard, the demographics of this site really don't support big national chain franchises coming here. So what we're trying to do is find really good, qualified, largely local operators to work with that have a good concept that provides an amenity, not just for the residents of the apartments, but generally the residents in the city. There are some national, regional groups, especially in the coffee space, that we've had some discussions with that I think I might make an exception to my local only comment if one of those groups were to show up. I think it'd at least be worth all of us exploring it if that got real. John touched on this a little bit, but strip malls are dead. This is a strip mall. It's been a strip mall, a vacant strip mall for long before my partner bought it, long before I put it under contract. There's a reason that the grocery store isn't there today and it went out of business a long time ago. It's because there's not enough demand for that use. So you don't have to, it's not complicated why the retail world's changing, right? I mean, it's not a great consumer experience. That's why all the retail development that happens now is in a more sort of lifestyle sort of component, and all that commodity stuff has gone online. So all the online shopping has really limited the amount of retail that's out there, and that's put a huge hurt on strip malls. The other thing I think you have to know about this commercial discussion is nobody's showing up for this site, right? So Costco wants to come to Franklin. They knew this site was available. They didn't pick it. They picked a different site. Well, 27th Street fits that demographic description of all of the big national guys want to be there. This site's available. Anybody can buy it. Nobody's showing up to buy it or rent it and build a store. If you're wondering what type of interest we have in the space in its current condition, it's not hard to think about. All you got to do is say, okay, well, who was in there last, right? It's a liquor store that doesn't pay rent. It's a vape shop that barely pays rent. And these are not the type of uses, in my opinion, that we were hoping to attract to the site. Those are the type of people that'll go in here, but I don't think that's what we want. John talked a little bit about sort of the broader context, and it's absolutely right. The reality is the density that multifamily brings, the large disposable income that comes off these projects, that's the sort of income that attracts good commercial users to the site. That's why whether it's Mayfair, Southridge, even Bayshore up on the north side, you name it, the list goes on and on. It's a national trend. It's not just a local trend. All of those communities are looking at it saying, we need the rooftops, we need the people, we need the disposable income to attract the commercial we need. So this isn't a unique sort of one-off situation. And beyond that, all of those groups are putting all those cities are putting substantial amounts of money in it to make that happen. One piece of this that's also, I feel like, got lost in the shuffle a little bit, although the staff did a nice job capturing in the report, is the TIF dollars that are reflected in the development agreement cover the cost to make this commercial land viable. In other words, all the busted up potholes in the old parking lot that's cracking and failing, and that will populate this area here, the shaded in blue, getting the utilities extended to it so it's easy to tap a lateral into it, just the general cleanup of it. All of that cost is being covered by the apartment and the first restaurant building that we're building. So it gets a little bit lost in that, oh, there's $15 million. Well, that's true, but it's not just $15 million for apartments. It's $15 million to set the commercial space up so it can attract the right type of people. I understand there was an issue on maybe some mailing or whatever, but having worked on this now for 3 years, this is hands down going away. And this is something I think we should all be proud of, the most thorough and transparent municipal process I've ever been involved in. I've talked to other developers about it, and they all say the same thing. And so what that means is there's just a bunch of information that's been made available to us. On the heels of the last meeting, there was certainly a request for as much information as we had. It was provided and summarized by the staff. But one of the things that continues to come up is this burden on municipal service. John talked about it, so I won't repeat it here, but you can go through any one of these touch points, and you don't have to listen to me. Just ignore whatever I've said in all the prior meetings. This is information from the people that are in charge of each one of these things. So school district, in your package, there's an email from the assistant superintendent that says apartments don't produce many school-age kids, and to the extent they do, we have more than enough capacity to take them. In fact, they'd probably like to have them because, as we all know, the state funding of schools goes up based on the number of students. Well, if your cost is the same because you have the same facility and you don't need anything and you have capacity, you just get more money for having more students. So we don't, this is the reality. This isn't Ian Martin talking. This isn't Land by Label. This is the school district talking. And you can go up and down this list. And so I guess the point I want to make is, it doesn't matter how many times says that somebody gets up in one of these meetings and says this is a big burden on municipal services. That does not make it true. We all want to talk about what's in the record. The record makes it clear. It's not an ambiguous situation. All the subject matter experts have weighed in on it. John did a good job summarizing the blight and the legal, and you've got all the information in it. This is also not a complicated one, and it's not me talking. I've provided all the information that's necessary to validate what I'm saying here is true. These are dilapidated buildings. Elsewhere on the site, there's demolished structures within the TID area. I don't think you need any special skill, frankly, to drive by that and realize that it's a dilapidated building. I think that's probably why most people want it gone. The unregulated dump site, that's clear. This is an unregulated dump site. That's what all the reports say. This effort to somehow split hairs between the difference between an unspecified fill versus an undocumented fill, that's just nonsense. That's just wordsmithing, and that's not what this is about. Any reasonable person that looks at the third-party geotechnical report or the environmental report, which is in the record, can confirm that. I won't go through all of these, but I think you get the drift that you don't have to believe me. Look at the record, talk to the city staff, talk to the superintendent. The record on it is clear. Todd and John did a great job talking about the TIF terms, so I won't go through them again. I do want to highlight just a couple of things because it's come up multiple times. The maximum statutory life is 27 years. As you guys saw, there is a very reasonable scenario where it doesn't last that long. And then back to the commercial, I mean, again, to the city staff's credit and this council's credit, when I was in here talking about the development agreements, The requirement was that if I don't put my money where my mouth is on the commercial property, the city can buy it back for $1. I can promise you that that would be a loss of millions of dollars. That's bad business. I can assure you I'm highly motivated on it. And I share that here because where this commercial discussion is at right now is a bit of a catch-22. I've made a lot of good progress with a lot of groups that I think people would find appealing for the site, whether it's, a medical office use, a coffee use, any number of restaurants that are considering it. But they're all telling me the same thing, which is, great, Ian, we're curious, we're interested, let me know when the deal's done. And so I just find myself in this spot where everybody wants me to get the commercial. I think I can get the commercial. Certainly I put my money where my mouth is on it, on a legal binding agreement. But I can't advance that discussion without advancing the project holistically. Again, I won't belabor this. Other people have talked about it. I think the one that merits the most attention because it bears directly on this issue of how does multifamily support the commercial that we'd all like to see here. It's the $36.1 million in annual expenditures. You can see how it's broken down, whether it's residents or it's employees of the new businesses, whichever way you want to skin it. That's a lot of money, in my opinion. So a lot of the discussion we've had to date gets focused on, well, is there any economic benefit to the city because the real estate taxes are all going to be sucked up on a TIF? As a couple people have said, that's an inaccurate description. Doesn't matter how many times you say that's what's happening, that's wrong. That is not accurate. Don't believe me, believe the subject matter experts. But that is an incredibly myopic view of what development does, because it ignores this massive financial impact that comes off these projects that helps local businesses. That's it. This isn't a report that I created. This is Baker Tilly did this. This information's available. Anybody can fact check any number of this stuff, right? So if you don't believe me, call up Baker Tilly and ask about it. In the same way that I have put site plans, stormwater management plans, civil engineering documents, environmental reports, you name it, on my website for the last 3 years, and people have said I'm not to be believed on this, despite that transparency. Not a single person has to date said, I went out and consulted a traffic engineer to peer review the traffic study you supplied. They've just said, my gut instinct is that that's wrong. But that doesn't make a record for a city to make a reasonable determination on. That was all my comments, so happy to answer any questions to the extent you have them.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the council? Start, Mr. Salus.
Just a clarification, one of the speakers mentioned that the property tax out of the commercial, it's gonna go to the city. That is not accurate. That has to remain in the TIF. Am I correct?
Right, what I had indicated is that the city could choose to apply that to pay off the obligation quicker, but correct, it stays in the TID.
Yeah, so it's not going to the city.
Correct.
Property, okay, just, and one more item. I'm just trying to understand. I know Baker and Tilly, they usually involved in the affordable housing type of a situation. What is their involvement here? Just like presenting the impact study or what?
Yeah, Baker Tilly, as you said, is a global organization, one of the most well-respected accounting firms, but they provide all kinds of other things, including consulting on municipal services. One of those things, Baker Tilly, for this purpose, usually gets hired by cities, not developers. So one of the municipal services they provide is in what they call an economic impact study. So what you do is you provide them, they have a whole list of, inputs, they call them. So how many units?
turned mine off and then it worked. Would you stipulate to a new sound system
Yes.
at no cost for us? Up to 10,000.
Rumor is that there's some impact fees that might help with that. So to answer your question, we provide them all the inputs, and I'll be honest, I don't know what their full algorithm is. That's a little bit opaque. That's proprietary, right? If I had that, I'd never have to hire them to do it for me. So I can't purport that I understand exactly what all the math is that produces the report. But that's the nature of the Baker-Tilly report.
So the financing of the project has nothing to do with there is no public financing involved here, like any.
This is all market rate. There's no subsidized housing. There's no Section 9, none of that stuff. It's all market rate.
Yeah, just like a minor comment about the blight situation. I just did go through the geotest study here. Yeah, it just like there is like, an average depth, like I seen it, some of it sometime 4 feet, 5 feet, 2.8, 3.9. There is one spot I seen was a little bit on the deep kind of, warrant special attention because, you have to dig down for your footing and, you have to take 4 or 5 feet regardless. So I'm just like to clarify that, average, site, you will have to go through. This is like nothing peculiar or exceptional about this site, it just that's almost within the normal, except one spot that I seen that could be like 27 feet depth of but before you before you get into the natural soil, just like a comment. And yeah, I think that's all I have. Thanks.
Kind of go around spectrum here. Mr. Oh, do you go to 1 or 6? Okay. Mr. Craig.
Yeah, thank you. There was a memo that you sent me, Ian, and I thank you for it, and I apologize not getting back to you, but it was regarding the extraordinary cleanup that has to be done on the site to prepare it for construction, and roughly, and I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I believe it was north of $1 million that would need to be spent in order to make the site prepared for construction. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's a couple different line items that build up on it.
And it just, the grand total at the end was over $1 million, correct?
Yes.
80,000.
Yep. So when was that established? When did you discover that you needed to spend $1 million in order to clean up the site for construction? Was that something that was, like Jokey Smurf, a big surprise at the end? Or was this something that was kind of shrouded because, when the property was purchased, it wasn't disclosed to you? When was that kind of discovered?
Yeah, the real answer is it's never discovered soon enough. So when we put the property under contract, and I think that's important that everybody remembers, Land by Label does not own the property. My partner owns the property, and I have a purchase and sale agreement to acquire it from him. My company didn't exist when the land was acquired by my partner. So when I put a piece of property under contract, this one or any other, the first thing we do is a whole bunch of due diligence, things like geotechnical reports and environmental reports and all that. And obviously what we're trying to do is figure out just how painful is it going to be to get this thing ready to go. So once all that information is collected, usually the next step is you've got to kind of tweak your site plan to make sure you're not, incurring a bunch of cost unnecessarily. So Alderman Salus talked about there's a couple of deep pockets of fill material that require rammed aggregate piers. That's an abnormal structural support for that. So we might find something like that and just say, okay, can we shift the building 5 feet this way, and then we don't have to worry about it. So then you go through that process. Once that's done, that's when we show up here and we say, hey, here's what we'd like to build. What do you think of the site plan? Then we redo it all over again, right? This is part of the collaboration where we collect city council comments of the residents, all the stakeholders, and then we rework the plan so it hopefully incorporates some of those comments. Once that's done, we have to then go back, of course, and back check it, right? To make sure that all the stuff we knew about, here are the wetlands, here's the geotech, all of that stuff, where our new plan incorporates all that stuff we learned. Once that's done, then we send it to a contractor to bid it. And that's the point where we actually know how much it's going to cost. In this particular deal, in terms of calendar dates, it's probably a year ago, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe a little bit less.
So, I mean, going line item by line item, like a huge undertaking just to put a shovel in the ground. And how does it, like, some of that stuff get to be to the geotechnical and the depth things I can understand, but anything else beyond that, how does it get to the point of where, man, maybe that needs to be, was that ever baked into the cake from the starting points of like, hey, I know the northwest corner is a disaster area and I need to put 50 grand into it, like minimum, knowing that from the jump?
Yeah, I mean, we do our best to look at all the readily available information right away and try to reflect that into the financial feasibility of a project. So, in this, I'll give you one example. There's a bunch of them, but one example in this case, this particular site was, we pulled up all the GIS information right away, and we could see there were wetlands, marked wetlands. Well, when we look at the wetlands, the next step is you have to figure out which one of those are jurisdictional, meaning we can't touch them, which ones of them are artificial, which means we can touch them. And then you start figuring out, okay, well, what do I need to do? You get an engineer, civil engineer, to do the plans and all that. So in this case, one good example of it is we knew there was likely a high quality wetland in the northeast side of the site. And we were right about that. What then happens is we have to figure out, okay, we can't impact it. So then it's a question of, okay, well, how big of a retaining wall do we need to build? Is it 1 feet? Is it 10 feet? The only way we can get to the bottom of that, the only way we can answer that question is once the site plan's settled, right, done, because the closer we get, of course, the higher the wall needs to be in that. So there's a little bit of a push-pull, and it's only really once the site plan's settled that you can actually go out and say, okay, how much is it going to cost us to build that wall?
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Beccarelli?
So first, I just want to say thank you for to everybody for putting all the material together. It was very helpful to read through and answered a lot of questions. Secondly, I usually don't talk a lot about myself up here, but I actually grew up in the 80s behind all of this in one of the subdivisions that are back there, so very familiar with the area. And the grocery store we talked about, I actually worked there when I was in high school, so so I am familiar with this property, probably more so. I have a question on some of the financial piece, just a real quick question. So, and it's for clarification. So when we have the increment in here, the total increment, we get up to the 42 million. We project that out through the whole rest of this at 42 million. That's essentially assuming that the value doesn't change over that whole entire life. Is that correct? The way this is structured right now?
Correct. Again, to be conservative,
Yep.
you'll notice the economic change column says 0.
Yep.
And part of that is we don't want to rely on assumed economic appreciation to make a deal work.
Yep. So thank you. And then the second thing I just want for clarification, because I think a lot of people are not familiar with the difference how you value like a single family home versus how you value a multifamily, like a rental development like this. Just want to go over real quick how that is valued. That's different than residential.
So there's three ways property can be assessed. The income approach, comparable sales, and construction cost. So when you have an income producing property like a multifamily development, it's assessed on the income approach. So once when it's getting built, the assessor will base it on construction cost, but once the project is stabilized, the same type of information that SB Friedman looked at on a projected basis, the assessor will gather that same information. So they're essentially looking at the net operating income of the project, and that will drive the valuation based on an assigned capitalization rate.
So it works sort of off of how well it does from a rental and operating is what drives the value versus single-family homes kind of go off of sales.
Correct.
Sales. Okay. Thank you.
Alderman Lankman?
Thank you. If this were to pass tonight, when would this project start? When would the buildings be taken down? How soon are we looking at? I get asked that question quite a bit.
The next steps when it gets approved is to finalize our construction loan and raise all the cash. So it's, $60 million roughly construction loan, $23 million in cash. We're well down the road on both of those. We've got most of our loan documents negotiated on that. So I think it'd be reasonable to think we could get started in the next, call it 60 days. We did start, sorry to bore you with this, but when the council approved the TIF agreement in January, I promised the council at that time that I would spend some more money on the demo. So that was getting the construction fencing up, but then also paying We Energies not insignificant amount to start the decommissioning of the power, because that's really got to be the first thing before we take the building down. And so that has all been done. So We Energies is on site. So depending on how you want to talk about it, we technically started the demo process after the January council meeting.
Right. And once the demo would be started, what about those potholes in front of Century? I know we have discussed this numerous times, but I made the horrible mistake of going through there a little bit too fast, below the speed limit though, in my car yesterday, forgetting that they were there, and wow. I mean, and that's the number one complaint I hear from my constituents and residents throughout the city is, in this process, what's going to happen to some of those areas? Because that can't stay. That's horrible. I don't think there's anybody that would disagree with me on that.
I agree with you on it. I drove it again tonight. It's bad. No way to sugarcoat it. The very first thing we do before we start taking the building down is finishing up the construction fencing and doing the vehicular pedestrian protection, and then we'll have to fill that pothole. Dollar Tree's got to remain open throughout this process. So as part of that, we'll have to fix the pothole. So it would be, high priority within the first month. Certainly that would all be fixed. Between now and then, we'll do our best to keep, putting cold patch and that kind of stuff on it. Just not perfect, but make it a little better.
Yeah, because it is bad. Thank you. Like Alderman Peckrelly, I also grew up in the subdivision right behind there. I actually remember, I was very young, but I remember when that whole strip mall was first built and when it went up way back in the day. It's been up for a while. It's seen its good days. Now it's seen its bad days. If council were to not approve this, what would happen to that entire strip mall? How it sits now? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It'll be a little bit because I don't really have a great answer for it except to say it's probably just going to sit there. We'll do the minimum we have to do to make it safe. And then we'll start, I guess, looking at what other options might be available, vape shops and liquor stores, that kind of thing. we have quite a bit invested in this. I think we've landed on the right concept, and so we're going to do everything we can to convince the council that what we're doing here is the right thing. There's no plan B here. There's nobody that's out there saying, hey, you know what? We'd love to reopen that grocery store for you. There's nobody out there saying, we've got a high-end, I'm not in this, Neiman Marcus or Saks Fifth Avenue or whatever those are. There's nobody showing up saying that right now. So there's just no plan B here except to try to, as best we can, execute on the plan we have in front of us. We'll do the bare minimum in the meantime.
I can't imagine in the shape of how it's in that anyone would want to move in there by any means, even if the rent was incredibly low. I mean, that's quite obvious. Also, the conditions of the building, reading again in the link that was provided to us last week by John Regat, of the concerns from our fire department too. The sprinkler systems are outdated. We could have a massive fire that would occur in that area, which wouldn't be good as well.
Yeah. I mean, of course, when it rains, it pours. So all the fire suppression system broke when it got really cold. And so, of course, you find yourself in this tough spot where and we have a monitoring system that didn't exist before we got involved, but the monitoring system goes off and I'm sure the chief, if he's still here, can talk about it. But I mean, there's lots of midnight calls, lots of really early morning calls, and when it's -20 out and water's pouring, where we're trying to fix it, and it's just inevitable in a building of this age. Those systems are going to fail, and so it's really just do our best to hold it together until we figure out what's next.
Right. And then I know I've mentioned this in several meetings in the past, but what I want those here and those listening at home to understand, again, we just can't stress enough of how much the apartment component is needed to then bring in to draw in the commercial, the restaurants and so forth. I've used this same example many times. We've got some substantial business owners sitting right amongst us this evening. Who would want to front money right now to say, oh, we're going to build a restaurant there, but it may happen, it may not happen? I mean, nobody in their right mind would. I wouldn't. I don't think anybody else would. So until the apartment component gets done or started, minimum, we're not going to get a commitment from any of the people that are here in the audience that I suspect have interest in opening businesses in that area. So I just really wanted to once again stress that to council and how important that is to know. So that's it for right now. I will yield.
Alderman?
Yes, I really had a few questions this evening, but during the discussion, all of my questions were really answered. I heard enough from the citizen comment period and from the gentleman that's the owner of the point after. He really made some fantastic comments with regard to this project.
Brilliant man.
I feel we had enough discussion about this project for many meetings so far. And for sure, there's nothing perfect. There's something plus and something minus. And I really see from my heart that there's going to be benefit from this project, a more positive impact to the community than negative impact for the city of Franklin. And I am honestly hoping for this to pass through tonight so this can start as soon as possible. I think there's enough delays that we have cause for this, and a lot of people in the city of Franklin have really contacted me and approached me, and they wanted to see something different at this location, and I don't see why we should really delay it anymore. So I was really going to make a motion to adopt this resolution. And I would like to make that motion if that's okay.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah, so we got a first and second, we have further discussion, because I got a couple things. We
Okay,
have a
sure.
Document first and second, because I know I'm going to forget after I get my brimstone and fire. So, couple things. So I know some of the neighbors have been concerned with water issues. Now, I know one of the slides you had up there took the setbacks from 30 feet to 100 feet. That was in one of your changes. And,
Sorry.
no, I want to get to that point, because, so now is, you know, where there's a gentleman that's saying, you know, well, he's right next to it, because I know the plan commission passed, and you could go to 30, but now you agreed to go to 100, because you listened to the residents at these meetings, and now you've got, is it 100 average? Is there areas that are less than that if you were to kind of,
Well, these are the dimensions we have against the single-family homes, and they're all over 100. Probably gets a little bit tighter here where you see these, but these are single-story garages.
Okay.
And then the other thing I would mention is we did come to one of the prior meetings with the Plan Commission and the council, we had to have our landscape plan approved. And as part of that, we did add a significant amount of additional landscaping around all of the perimeter here. I don't know if Regulo's still here, but he may have that available to share.
well, that's fine. And so my other point to that is there was a lot of concerns about right now, there's water drainage issues. How do you want to address that with the neighbors? Because that's an issue.
Yeah, so by law, we have to prepare a stormwater management plan. That has to be reviewed by the city staff, engineering staff. That's been prepared, that's been submitted, and it's been approved. There is a neighbor that has asked me to come visit them, which I will do because they have a concern about groundwater, the potential spring kind of groundwater. And so I promised that we would go visit them before we start construction to make sure we understand what's going on there. We didn't find any significant sort of groundwater when we did all those geotech borings, but you know, we'll go take a look at it. There's plenty of opportunity to do berming, add landscaping material, that kind of thing, where if we do get in there and we find an issue, it's not too late to correct it. So this would mainly be, I think, on up along the single-family homes there where the potential issue is.
Okay. All right, thank you. So we have a first and a second. This will absolutely be a roll call. Oh, more questions, Mr. Great.
So one of the things that the further discussion, Todd, you brought up about how with the commercial aspect, adding value within that, that's being captured, that the city can choose to apply towards the MRO, and that can accelerate the payoff window as far as that goes. With that said, before we take a vote, I would like to make an amendment that, because the entire thing that we're looking at right now is two different questions, and it's the creation of the TID, or the financing aspect, and the designation of blight. I would like to make an amendment that we remove the designation of blight, so that way it can be a 20-year, in line with what you said, that we can pay this off on, so that way we're able to get, we're not handcuffed to that 27 years.
So the resolution before you approves the project plan that's been developed. We can't change the life of the tax increment district. By definition, a blighted area district has a 27-year maximum statutory life. The city can close that district earlier than 27 years, which will be a function of cash flow.
Sorry, if I could add to that right, that legal right of the city, that one, I'm capped at that amount, and two, that the city gets the right to prepay it. Those terms are in the development agreement already. So if the city wants to close it, they can.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. This will be a roll call, please.
Alderman Pecorelli.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
No.
Alderman Craig.
No.
3 ayes, 2 noes, motion carries. G2, a resolution initially approving a 4-lot certified survey map being a redivision of Lot 2, certified survey map number 8318, outlot 1 of certified survey map number 6313, and outlot 1 of certified survey map 5401, and additional lands, all being part of the northwest 1/4 of the northwest 1/4 of Section 10, Town 5 North, Range 21 East, in the city of Franklin, Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, Pos General LLC applicant, Initech LLC property owner. Mr. Fuchs, good evening.
Evening. This is another CSM related to the Pos General project. The Plan Commission recommended approval at their March 19th meeting. They also approved a land division variance for Lot 3, which is technically a flag lot. It only has a 50-foot width for access to Rawson Avenue. So that was approved. As the mayor stated, it creates 4 lots.
I can interrupt you for 1 second. Time to use.
825.
825, okay, thank you. Please continue.
Lot 2 consists of the multifamily portion of the development, and the lots 1, 3, and 4 are the commercial lots. So staff is also recommending approval.
Okay, questions?
Nothing. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. 4 ayes, no noes, 2 absent.
One absent.
Oh, yeah, he's gone. And
He's gone. She resigned.
okay, good. G3, a resolution authorizing certain officials to accept a conservation easement for and as part of the approval of the certified survey map for the Pos General mixed-use multifamily residential and commercial development upon property located at approximately 7154 South 76th Street, Initech LLC property owner applicant. Mr. Fuchs, you still have the floor.
This is the conservation easement that would protect the remaining natural resources on site for the POTS project. Primarily, the resource located along the east property line. Document is consistent with the
Thank you,
city
Mira.
template, so staff is recommending approval.
Okay, staff is recommending approval. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to adopt.
I second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. There was a request from the owner to table items, is it just 4 and 5?
4 and 5.
Till the next meeting?
Yep.
There are items that are, there are events that are starting on the 17th, so I don't know if tabling that is proper.
That's a request.
Well, he requested to have it tabled, so I'm not sure if that's gonna. Mr. City Attorney, what are your thoughts on that?
I'll defer to planning department regulates this.
Mr. Martinez, if you wouldn't mind coming up here, thank you, and good evening, sir.
Good evening. So the temporary use permit that was already approved by Plan Commission, what is presented tonight is the increase of the maximum sound level. So if the council doesn't take any action tonight, then the sound level is 55 decibels, what is in the ordinance, and then waiting for the approval of the 65 that is requested. That'll be at the next meeting or another day that the council decides.
Well, they've asked to have it tabled, so it's.
So they still have the 55.
Right. So, is there a motion to table items 4 and 5 until the next meeting, which will be Tuesday, April 21st?
I'll make the motion to table.
I'll second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
3 ayes, 1 no, motion carries.
Thank you.
6.
Do you have to do that for 5 as well?
4 and 5, yes, that was for both. G6, MMSD Oak Creek Southwest Metropolitan Interceptor Sewer Extension Project presentation. Good evening. Thank you for bearing with us.
Good evening.
If you could, just for the record, state your name and business address would be great.
Sure. Jeremy Triebenbach, 260 West Seabooth Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Drew Robar, also 260 West Seabooth Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Thank you. Mr. Polos, what? So in the essence of time, we appreciate you coming in tonight. We have a huge agenda, so.
We'll go through it quickly. So, good evening. At my request, gentlemen from MSD came in to discuss their project. It's a rather substantial project, South 27th Street, MIS sanitary sewers being installed starting soon from West Oakwood Road south to County Line Road. I thought it'd be good for the council to hear the project, the extent of the project, the schedule of the project, and there will be some road closures for quite some length of time. So I asked them to put together a little presentation to go over the project at a high level. I guess it's the mayor's request. As at the time, maybe we'll go skip some of the earlier slides and get to kind of the meat and potatoes of it, if you will, and answer any questions that you may have about the project.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Alderman is now returned at 8:30.
Do we have our slideshow?
I don't.
All right.
We did, yeah.
I did not.
Okay.
I don't have to. She's the
8:31, Alderwoman Eichman is leaving the room.
I'll just go with.
Okay.
Yeah, we've all have copies in here.
If you have the presentation, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
I'll skip through the background. Hopefully, most of you are familiar with the Milwaukee Sewage District. We are the regional water reclamation district for Milwaukee County, and this project, as was mentioned, is along South 27th Street. It's an extension of one of our existing metropolitan interceptor sewers. So it's a large diameter sewer that collects sewage from multiple municipalities. This sewer that we are building will serve Franklin, Oak Creek, Raymond, and Caledonia. It was requested by all 4 municipalities and was part of our 2050 facility plan to expand sewer service to this area. And then I'll turn over to Drew to talk about the construction project.
Thanks. So this project consists of approximately 1 mile of tunneled MIS sewer. It will be 60-inch sewer on the outside with a 24-inch sewer kind of on the inside, which will carry flow. And we will be working, like Jeremy said, from about Oakwood and 27th all the way down just south of the Root River on the west side of 27th. I think the kind of the meat and potatoes for this would be 2 road closures. The first road closure will be on 27th and Oakwood. 27th Street northbound and southbound will remain open. However, if you are traveling east-west through 27th, that will be closed for a duration of the project. That is the start of our project. That'll be the work area that we'll be working first. And the goal is that kind of once that area is completed, that we will pull back that traffic control that closes the east-west access to reopen that. The reason for the kind of intersection closure at that point is to meet WSDOT traffic safety standards for not only drivers, but also the construction crew working in that area. And then the second road closure will be later in the project. It will last, currently scheduled approximately 10 months. That will be County Line Road off of 27th. So there will be no access to 27th Street from County Line Road. So as I mentioned, County Line Road will be closed for approximately 10 months. That is the location of one of our work shafts for the tunneling. Our contractor will be mining in both directions out of that shaft, so that's why it's going to be a lengthy closure. That is also the location of the requested Franklin local manhole that will be installed under this project. And I've given a few kind of timelines on this. However, during tunneling, that could be subject to change depending on running into underground obstructions or any other issues with tunneling or shaft construction. But one thing we are trying to be considerate, and none of these shafts will be put down in a large advance of when they are needed. So the timing of trying to put this shaft down right when it's needed to be completed to minimize the road closure, is the goal of this project. And yeah, that's all I had. Thank you.
So I just have a question. If this can be put on the website, Lisa can do her magic, because this will be pretty impactful on that scenario.
Yeah, I forgot to add, sorry. We will be sending out communication via email, post, with a letter, and there will be a website that MMSD creates and
Excellent.
updates for anyone that wishes to access it.
Good. Excellent. Questions, Mr. Piccarelli?
I just had a quick one. So you said the second road closure was about 10 months in duration. How long is the first road closure, roughly?
Hard to say. Right now, the schedule we have from the contractor has also about 6 months.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Pauls, anything more on this?
I just want to bring it to your attention, it's not a city-led project, it's MMSD's project, but I just want to make everybody aware of the extent of it, especially the road closures for either a lengthy period of time. Inland District will be handling all the communication with the businesses and the residents as far as
8:36, Alderwoman returned.
the closures and whatnot, but we can certainly put this on the website, maybe an excellent idea.
Okay, Mr. Craig?
We have another interceptor that runs through the city, and as a result of it, it requires an air scrubber, so that way the homes in that area aren't filled with methane. Is that going to be a necessity as well for this project, or has time kind of made technological advances that won't be necessary?
It's not anticipated that we'll need any type of odor control on this sewer, the way it's designed and the flows that'll initially be on it. It's not anticipated that we'll need that.
But if necessary, be prepared for that?
It's always a contingency we could look into if it ends up being problems, but this sewer is smaller diameter than the Ryan Creek interceptor that you're referencing. So the amount of flow on it should allow it to clean out by itself quicker.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. So this motion to receive and place on file?
Correct, there's no action needed, just for information only.
Okay, information only, move on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. G7, resolution to award the 2026 local street improvement program to the lowest bidder, Payne and Dolan, Inc., in the amount of $2,982,752.26.
So engineering put out the annual local road program, received very, very good bids. We opened bids back on March 12th, and Payne and Dolan is the lowest responsible bidder. So we're doing all the base bid, if you will, which included Teston Drive, Jody Place, Madison Boulevard, and Minnesota Avenue. Because the bids came in so well, we're also doing the alternate bids, accepting all of them, including Southwood Drive, Briarwood Drive, Chapel Hill, and then some work at Kevin's Yard at DPW. Fiscal note with Danielle, we are moving some funding over, some carryover from the 25 program into 26. So the budget for 26 is $3.060 million. And the low bid came in at $2.982 million from Payne and Dolan. So requesting approval for awarding the 26 road program to Payne and Dolan.
Good with it? Good.
Any questions?
Questions? Not, there's a motion here.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G8, a resolution authorizing installation of a fence within the 20-foot storm drainage easement upon Lot 6 of the Tess Creek Estates located in part of the northeast 1/4 of southeast 1/4 of Section 7, Township 5, North Range 21 East, in the city of Franklin, Wisconsin, Milwaukee County, 11415 West Tess Creek Street, tax key number 751100600. Who's taking this?
So We received a request from a resident to install a privacy fence within an existing 20-foot wide storm sewer easement. The city has approved these before within the easement, with the understanding if the city needs to get in there and do work or maintenance, the fence has to be removed. It's the owner's responsibility to replace the fence at their cost. And that was agreed upon as, again, we've done previously in this community.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have, motion carries. G9, resolution for the acceptance of a water main easement at 7765 South Lovers Lane Road, tax key number 795-9001-000.
So this is going to be for the future Aldi store in Highway 100, and part of the project includes public water main. Therefore, the water main needs to be in a water main easement, and this is to accept that easement.
I'll make the motion to adopt.
Second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have, motion carries. One step closer. G10, resolution to authorize acceptance of stormwater facilities maintenance agreement and stormwater access easement from Aldi, 7765 South Lovers Lane Road, tax key number 795-9001-000.
Yeah, this is for the Aldi's development, Highway 100, and part of their stormwater work through MMSD requires an agreement for maintenance for the stormwater facility, and that's what this is in front of you tonight to accept.
I will make the motion to adopt.
Oh, second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G11, a resolution authorizing certain officials to accept a conservation easement for and as part of the approval of a site plan and natural resources special exception for the Franklin High School project at 8222 South 51st Street for off-site mitigation upon property located along West Hilltop Lane bearing tax key number 885-9995-003, Franklin School District Number 5, property owner applicant. Mr. Fuchs, you driving?
Yes, this is the conservation easement for the off-site mitigation area for the high school project. So that's the property located along Hilltop Lane. The document is consistent with the city's template, and staff's recommending approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion on this?
I make a motion.
Oh, second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have, motion carries. G12, resolution authorizing certain officials to accept a conservation easement for 11311 West Forest Home Avenue, FHCC number 1 LLC, FHCC number 2 LLC, FHCC number 3 LLC, Entercon Companies, Inc. is the applicant. Mr. Martinez, good evening and welcome.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Okay, thank you. The Plan Commission approved a natural resource special exception for the applicant to make improvements to the existing stormwater management pond. As a requirement for natural resource special exception, a conservation easement shall be presented before the council, kind of to protect the existing natural resources and the compensation areas. Staff is recommending approval.
Uh-oh. Mr. City Attorney, if we could hit his button, please.
Back in February, I inquired after reviewing the easement that some of the provisions with regard to who enters for maintenance, when, and upon what, were changed from the standard form, and I never did get a response on that. And I ended with, it's okay if it's intended that the grantor and grantee work together on maintenance.
Yeah, I was not aware of that communication.
Maybe the motion is subject to potential technical minor changes.
Sounds good. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
G6?
That's fine, let her take it.
Nah.
Second it.
All right, so you got the first, sir, you got the second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G13, D6, a resolution conditionally approving a land combination for 11836 and 0 West St. Martin's Road, tax key number 797-9941-000 and 797-9942-000.
Make the motion to adopt.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G14, A resolution amending resolution number 2025-8384, authorizing the Franklin Director of Health and Human Services to accept the 2025-2026 Division of Public Health Immunization Grant Contract. Good evening.
You're not the director.
Oh, hello, good evening. Our health department received an updated scope of work for a consolidated contract previously approved at the October 7th, 2025 council meeting. The scope of work was revised to properly reflect the updated de minimis indirect rate. No contract dollars have been updated.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Motion carries. G15, well done. G15, an ordinance to amend the Franklin Municipal Code as it pertains to court costs imposed in municipal court actions.
Mayor,
Alderwoman?
if I may, I spoke with the judge earlier. As this is her religious Holy Week, she is in a church service right now and will not be able to get here until about 9:15, 9:30. She asked if she wasn't present when we came across this item, if we could possibly push it back. And also, I wanted to make note, which the clerk may be aware of, council does have to take a look at items 15 and 17 before 16 can be presented from the judge. So she was also asking if we did 15, then 17, and then went back to 16. But I'm suggesting until she arrives within the next half hour.
Well,
If it's-
here's the thing is, she said she was gonna be here at 8:30, so she's not.
When I
And-
took a break, I did look at my phone and she sent a message that her church service was going longer.
Well.
So you can just approve it, though.
Yeah, that's my point is, we don't need her to be here for 7 seconds to say what she wants unless there's something specific. But this is all came from her clerk, and this is their document. So we are looking to review the document and either approve or deny.
Okay, well, 15 and 17, she wouldn't be able to speak on it anyway because this is something that Governor Evers had raised, is what she made me aware of when I spoke with her this afternoon. So it doesn't matter for 15 and 17.
I don't think so. I
She
mean-
did want to be here for 16.
Okay, well,
Could we take a recess?
it's an option, but, why don't we do this? But then we got, I mean, we gotta move here. So it's 8:47, come back in 6 minutes, please. Go off.
Because like when your wife asked me.
It's 8:57 PM. We are back in open session. We're waiting, so what we're gonna do is we're going to return back. We're gonna handle G18, and we're gonna keep going until we go back to 15, 16, and 17. How about that?
Thank you, Mayor.
G18, ordinance to amend ordinance 2025-2712, in ordinance adopting the 2026 annual budget for the sewer fund to provide $200,000 of sewer rehab appropriations for sewer rehab projects. Madam Director of Finance.
This was just a clerical error. It was included in the sewer increase that was approved back in March, but just needs to actually be a budget amendment now.
Okay, and is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Sorry. Alderman Craig.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Peccarelli.
Aye.
5 ayes on those, motion carries. Let's see here, G19. Fire Chief to provide a brief update on fire department facilities and mold remediation project at Fire Station Number 1. Chief and Assistant Chief, evening and welcome.
Good evening to the council and message received on brief. With the warmer weather coming in, we have been able to conduct additional water testing on our brick walls at Fire Station Number 1. Unfortunately, the second round of testing revealed some cracks and leaks, especially along the front of the station in the brick and masonry walls. We did that testing on March 12th. The heavy rain that we had on April 1 and 2 also revealed some additional areas of water seepage. So the original water testing that we did, the thinking was that we needed to just replace windows throughout the building. This next round of testing revealed some other potentially larger issues. And the biggest point is that our allocation, capital allocation for this project, the balance currently at 24,000 and change, definitely will not be sufficient to make repairs to the building with the added expenses of windows and unknown cost right now for the brick repairs. So discussing this with the finance director, director of administration, we made a presentation at the last finance committee meeting, which was directly after this water test. We are requesting the council's support to include some funding in the bond that's being worked on for capital projects that'll be coming before you, to include a allocation for a agreement with a fire facilities architectural group or a consultant to come in and help us out with developing a strategic plan for what the best return on investment is going to be for fire facilities in the future. As you recalled, in our 5-year plan for the capital improvements for the city, we did have a plan for a new fire station that would function as our headquarters. That has been moved backwards, but the need for additional space and capabilities and facilities still exist. The Station 1 mold remediation and the leaks and the aging that we're dealing with now kind of added another wrinkle to this project. So what we'd like to do is bring in a firm that's experienced in fire facilities, look at the city's growth and future development, do a response time survey for our existing fire stations and where response times could be lacking in areas of the city that are currently growing. So that could provide to the council some tools to make decisions on where to get the best return of investment, whether it's fixing what we have now, whether it is repairing or rebuilding or renovating what we have now, or if it is looking at a combination of different things with renovating, repairing, and potentially a new facility down the road. But there would be value in having this outside firm come in that, again, specializes in that area to help us navigate that. I would envision the group that works with this consultant to include a member of the council and also at least one citizen member as well. The other portion of the funding request was for $355,000, which was a number that was included in the 5-year capital plan for fire facilities. That would allow, that funding in that bond would allow us to take the advice of the consultant, whichever course of action that the council would decide, and it would allow us to immediately execute a plan, whether it's repairing Fire Station 1 as it is with windows, masonry repairs, whether it's doing a expansion or an improvement at Fire Station 1 to get us through for the immediate future, or whether it's some other option of developing plans for something else. But that, again, that funding would give us the ability to do something immediately, which is going to be needed to bring the building back into 100% operational status. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Alderman Eichman.
So Chief, but you're still obviously operating out of there, even though there's water damage is still occurring, correct?
So yeah, the areas that are impacted, that we still have areas along the pretty large areas along the outside brick walls that are still don't have any drywall. It's ripped down to the brick studs. Those areas are the day room and kitchen for the 24-hour personnel. So some of their activities have been moved back to our training room, which means that we can't use the training room for any public relations activities, CPR classes, department training, as well as all the administrative offices on the front of the station are still not repaired. We are back in our offices and kind of working out of them with extension cords and temporary accommodations. But our front reception area where our administrative assistant works is completely out of operation. She's in a different office. And our fire inspector and community paramedic are sharing an office right now. So we're able to operate the basics, but in a very cramped and I would say ineffective manner.
So there's no kitchen to use? You're not cooking?
No, there is kitchen and a temporary sink that's available, but it's not repaired back to its original condition.
But do you have a temporary sink? Is the fridge still operable and
Yep.
the stove?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't sound fun. Is there an area during the little bit of downtime that you have to watch TV? Because
Yeah.
it used to be in the day room.
That's the area where the training room and multipurpose room is. The crews are able to go back there in between calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask the city administrator why that's funny?
It is. I mean, I'm
Well,
finding
I'm just trying to, I'm picturing, I know that I grew up in the station.
I know you
basically,
did,
So
and I've
I'm
watched
trying
it.
to picture in my,
She's laughing at
I'm
me
trying to
because I'm looking at
picture,
you,
I'm trying to picture
wondering
in
the
my
relevancy
head
of the fridge, but that's
which
okay.
areas are which. Well, I mean, they should have proper
have it.
accommodations. They're living
have
there
it.
24/7.
I will say the crews have been very accommodating and we've been working collaboratively together to make sure that we have an environment that is comfortable to be in for a 24-hour period.
Right. I mean, this is where
and
you're calling your
able to
home
function.
when you're not at home. So you
Right.
deserve the same amenities as any of us up here do, if not more, while you're out saving lives throughout the city. So, all right, that was my
Thank
point.
you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
And just to the point, let's say you had a fridge that didn't work. What would you do? Probably get a new one, wouldn't you?
Repair or replace.
Exactly. Alderman Pecorelli.
Well, Mayor, my question was, is there
Alderman Pecorelli.
is there a place for them to even have a
Of course
fridge
there
if there's
is.
water
If
damage?
there wasn't, move it. Mr. Pecorelli, you've got the floor.
So I think we talked about this part at the Finance Committee, but just to bring it back, is for the 50,000, the analysis, what's the duration of that? Like, how long is it going to be to get to that point, and then how long till we have an answer?
The goal was to have a report ready in time for the budget, for the 2027 budget, so that the council and we would have a clear direction of where we are going prior to adopting the budget for 27.
And so from a standpoint of the current state of Fire Station 1, the plan kind of right now is it'll stay roughly that way until we get to that point. Is that
Correct. Yeah, unless one of the things we're doing now is we're getting a second opinion, so to speak, on the masonry and brick repairs. Unless a contractor comes in with a miracle fix that's a lot less expensive, we would have the ability to move forward on that. But everything with this project has been like peeling back layers of an onion, and we've kind of we had a small contingency, but the funding for the windows, cabinets, and the brick repair were not allocated in the project original cost.
Thank you.
Alderman Sluse.
Chief, just like an idea, from my short experience in life, what you might be dealing with, it might not be a masonry type of a situation. I do strongly recommend that a high-quality sealer to the exterior of the building. Sometimes when you have long saturated drain, the cement, like the mortar, start to absorb little by little, and that end up causing some seepage inside, especially if you have rain like similar to what we got. Sometimes you put like a water testing to it and it pass. But when you have long saturated rain for quite some time, that's what you start to have seepage. Sealing the building should not cost a lot of money at all. It's maybe $1,000 or so, just like, sealer they spray it before. And I also recommend before we start covering those walls, the seepage issue has to be fully addressed, because otherwise we'll be back to square number one. So if you need help getting someone, in fact, this contractor that you got estimate from, he should be able to do it. Just like they spray it, seal it, and this rain season is coming, hopefully that would, survive. If it survives the spring, that means it's good. Then we'll move forward with a major not a major remodeling, but remodeling to the fire station, similar to what we discussed in the past, and hopefully that should take care of it. Thanks.
But sealing that building would be a temporary fix because that sealant has to be redone every X amount of years.
You know what happens there is like a high quality sealer lasts 7 to 10 years before you worry about it. And once the cement absorb that sealer material, it's just less likely to happen again. Even if you seal it once every 10 years, it's not going to be an issue. So I do that all the time. Thanks.
No, I'm glad you brought the point up that we didn't want to redo the drywall before we had the leaks under control, and that's exactly why we are not rushing to get the drywall put back up. We want to make sure that the water problems are solved first.
I agree, it's putting a Band-Aid on a huge project. When are we expecting those bids back from the architectural firms as far as new stations and so forth?
We have received three proposals from 3 different firms.
Okay.
One of them was Keller Architects. Another was FGMA Architects that recently worked for the city of Cudahy for their fire station. And then the last was Wendell or Five Bugles Design. And they specialize in fire facilities. They're based out of Eau Claire, and they're currently building a fire station in the village of Union Grove. So we've been kind of watching that project as well. But so we do have 3 proposals
Great.
already.
I imagine we'll see that in a future agenda coming up soon, because whether the mayor's gonna like it or not, under his new term, we're gonna need to either extend Station 1 or build a new station, without a doubt. I mean, we're going too short of firefighters and so forth for a city that's growing our size, so that's gonna be in the near future, without a doubt.
Too much celebration.
Are you yielding now?
Yeah, unless I want to laugh first. I'll yield.
Well, you just said that whether I like it or not, so I'm going to address that comment. I'm going to address that I'll leave it at that.
Election's over.
Excuse me?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So whether I like it or not, I do like it. Okay, but we are going to be cautious in how we move forward with this. And I definitely want to see whether it makes more sense to expand your current station or the building of another one. Either one is going to be a huge cost. Either one is we're going to have to either bond out for, or it's going to referendum. This is big money. So we want to make sure that we have got that long-term planning as the motif. So whether I like it or not, I do embrace it because I'm of the reality of a growing community and the needs. So I'll be very interested to see how this company establishes, what makes more sense, because both areas, you could probably argue either way of moving someone here or doubling the size of your current one. And then also looking at when that water tower goes away and how that would affect staying where it's at and expanding. So with that, Madam Director of Finance, what are your thoughts on?
My only thoughts are we're going to be bringing this forward again to the Finance Committee to include as part of our 2026 bonding.
Okay. What action are we looking at for tonight?
None.
Accept and place on file.
Motion accept and place on file?
I'll make that motion to accept and place on file.
I'll second. We didn't do that with the amendment. That's not what they asked. Okay.
First and a second, all's in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have, motion carries. G20, request common council approval to purchase Knox Med Vaults using existing grant funding from Department of Health Services, DHS, Funding Assistance Program, FAP, at the cost of $14,782.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Good enough. First and a second, all is in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G21, request common council approval to purchase replacement Knox Keys secure devices for all fire department vehicles at a cost not to exceed $20,000.
Make the motion to.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Let's see here. G22. Thank you. An ordinance to amend 121-91 license fees for extraordinary entertainment and amusement special events of the Municipal Code of Franklin, Wisconsin to conform with the fees for same adopted by the Common Council pursuant to ordinance number 2025-2713 on November 18, 2025, amending 169-1 licenses required of the Municipal Code of Franklin, Wisconsin. Who is taking this one? Madam Clerk, or who's taking this?
Yes, this is just a housekeeping item in the ordinance. They had the wrong dollar amount, so we are just changing the dollar amount to conform with what was approved.
I'll make the motion to adopt.
I'll second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G23, results of the Department of Public Works sale of surplus vehicles and equipment. This is for review only, no action is necessary.
Okay.
Any questions on this one?
Nope.
Good. Nope, we'll go back. At this point, it's 9:15.
It's fast.
We were going fast, so why don't we actually skip ahead and we'll do H and I, and then if the judge gets here, great. If not, we're going to finish out 15, 16, 17. Okay, licenses. Who's taking licensing tonight?
I'm taking licensing.
Alderman, you got the floor.
The first 5 were approved. We held the operator Young to hold for appearance. We need to table the Franklin Place Memory Care. There was a note from the clerk's office that there's been some changes in their event and that they will likely need more than a temporary entertainment and amusement license because they're now trying to include a petting zoo, a higher attendance and so forth. So we'll need to table that till we find out more information. And then the last on the license agenda for the amusement device operator was approved.
Second.
First and a second, roll call on this, please.
Alderman Pecorelli.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderman Craig.
Aye.
Okay, we had 5 ayes, no noes. Mr. City Attorney.
The seventh one, Croatian Park, was that, said the first 5 approved. And the next one, Young, for appearance,
Okay.
didn't mention the next one, Croatian Park.
Good catch, thank you. Croatian Park was also approved. So I will amend my motion.
Well, it's already been voted on.
Yeah.
Bring
Right.
another motion.
Okay, a motion to approve operator John Brovac.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
First and a second, roll call again.
Alderman Craig.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Pecorelli.
Aye.
5 ayes, no noes, motion carries. We'll go into I's and Ida. This will also be roll call motion approving the following city vouchers with an ending date of April 2nd, 2026, in the amount of $1,718,196.48. Point 2, payroll dated March 20th, 2026, in the amount of $500,383.61, and payments to the various payroll deductions in the amount of $560,788.75 plus city matching payments. And point 3, payroll dated April 3rd, 2026, the amount of $471,049.90, and payments to the various payroll deductions in the amount of $280,715.03 plus city matching payments. And last point, estimated payroll dated April 17th, 2026, in the amount of $510,000, payments to the various payroll deductions in the amount of $561,000 plus city matching payments. Is there a motion?
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
First and second, roll call, please.
Alderman Pecorelli.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderman Craig.
Aye.
5 ayes, no noes, motion carries. So going back, are we saying that we can do 15 first, or are we gonna, I was kind of confused with the
15 and
order. What's that?
15 and 17.
Okay, 15 first, in order to amend the Franklin Municipal Code as it pertains to court costs imposed municipal court actions. Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Oh, Mr. City Attorney.
again, subject to minor technical changes.
that
My
the amended-
recommendations weren't followed, so.
Okay, is that the amended motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Amended second? All those in favor again?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Now we're gonna go to 17. G17, ordinance to amend 183-23.1D of the municipal code as it pertains to penalties for harmful substances violations.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Now, we're at G16, updated deposit schedule for municipal court forfeitures. Is there a motion to approve this?
Make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Closed session.
Not 24.
Yep. Okay, G24, a motion to enter closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 1985, sub 1 sub E, for market competition and bargaining reasons, to deliberate and consider terms relating to the agreement between the City of Franklin and JPM Acoustics Noise Vibration, and a potential amendment thereto, the investing of public funds and governmental actions in relation thereto, including the terms and provisions thereof, and to enter open session at the same place thereafter to act on such matters discussed therein as it deems appropriate. Is there a motion?
Motion to go into closed.
Second.
First and a second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Craig.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Peccarelli.
Aye.
5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, motion carries.
People that aren't sworn.
It's up to council,
Council, because the next item involves an employee personnel issue. Is it okay for?
Doesn't matter. 9:33 PM, we are back in open session on this item. Is there a motion
I'll make the motion.
to proceed as discussed in closed session? All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. G25, a motion with regard to city personnel compensation alignment to enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 sub 1 sub C as in Charles, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data on any public employee over which the governing body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility, and to reconvene in open session at the same place thereafter to consider approval of a related budget allocation as it deems appropriate.
Motion to go into closed.
Second.
First and second, roll call please on this, ma'am.
Alderman Peccarelli.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderman Craig.
Aye.
5 ayes, no noes, motion carries. We're going into go home tonight.
Okay.
Okay, it is 9:51 PM. We are back in open session. Is there a motion to move forward as discussed in closed session?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Before the motion comes forward to adjourn, so, Mr. Craig, I just want to say that you represented D6, my home, my area. It was a quick, very fast 3 years up here. Just went like a blink. And, you know, if everyone else is throwing things too, I just enjoyed working with you. None of us always see eye to eye, but the Jason Craig experience will live on. And it's, yeah, there's a lot of pluses. And anyone that steps up to run for office has got a level of guts that most people don't. So we thank you for your service. I thank you for it. And I like other opportunities from other electeds if they'd like to chime in.
Yeah, I'll just say that I have enjoyed my time here with you, and I appreciate it, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Yes, and I've also enjoyed serving with you. as I've told you over the past 3 years, and I do definitely wish you the best. And you will have, considering that my grandchildren attend the Whitnall School District, you will. I watched you on Whitnall School Board quite a bit, and you know how impressed I was with you being on that school board. So if you go down that avenue again, you definitely have my support with that as well. And I wish you the best in your future. Stay in touch, and I wish you the best with everything else going on. And thank you for your dedication to being here. Really missing meetings. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I also like to thank you for all your help, that you always answer questions for me, and wish you all the best.
Before we jump over to the alderman, so as I told you earlier, so some of the alders had asked, and it's for sure, so I'll do a proclamation. Jesse puts in the things you served on in time, and then we'll put in a nice wooden plaque from the clerk's office, and then either you can come here to the meeting or ship it, or we'll drop it off in D6. But thank you, and that's a nice thing.
Thank you.
Alder?
Once again, I really appreciate working with you. It has been a tremendous experience. You always, I admire the courage and integrity. Whatever the issue being discussed, you always voted your heart and your conscience, and do not regret that for one moment. Thanks you again for your service, and we definitely wish you the best.
Thank you. I thank you all for your patience, for dealing with my way of communicating, my own individual proclivities.
Oh,
There you
well
go.
done. Well done.
And dealing with as Mayor Nelson put it, the Jason Craig experience. And congratulations to the alders-elect, to them, and their opportunity will be here. And I thank you very much.
Well done. With that said, yes. Thank you. With that said, sir, would you like to make a motion to adjourn?
No, absolutely. I'd like to make the motion to adjourn, please.
I'll second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Let's 9:55 p.m. We are adjourned.